So I'd start this project by putting down a tablecloth or doing it outside where it's okay to have the water and the glue mixture slop on things. And then have all your supplies ready. I first found a container that would fit over my head, and then I did wrap it in plastic wrap, but I found that I should actually used a garbage bag or something, because if I didn't 100% overlap things, it did have a little bit of glue water get underneath. So this is what I did to prepare my container for the paper mache. I also made sure that I put the container holding the glue water in plastic as well, so it wouldn't stick. So I'm taking these Walmart bags, and they did say, please recycle this bag, so we're doing that. We're going to use them for our Five Nights at Freddy's costume. Taking strips of this, I'm going to dip it into a glue and water mixture, and then place it on an oversized coffee cup that will be the top of our golden Bonnie's head. Just keep cutting strips that big. So I combined the glue and the water about equal portions, and it comes out to be the thickness of milk. And then I put in my different layers. So I started off with the paper bags, and then I later on went to the newspaper, but my first layer was the paper bags. And I put them inside the bowl expecting it to kind of absorb the liquid, and it really didn't that much, so don't be afraid if your strips of paper don't seem soggy. It's going to work out just fine. Okay, then I started to apply it onto my pre-wrapped shape. See how I do have excess dripping all over the place? You do scrape off a bit. And then try to not do more than 2 overlaps on that first layer, because if you do too much, it's not going to dry well if it's inconsistent. So try to keep it to 2. I waited for 12 hours before I applied the second layer, and the second layer was with the newspapers, so that way I could see the difference between the first and the second. After those layers dried, I gave it a good 24 hours, and then I bought a product from Art Minds at Michael's, and it's a plaster wrap. So it's a cloth material that you can see is very flexible. I just cut it into strips, and while it's dry, you want to do the cutting. Make sure you don't get it wet while you are doing the cutting. I also got some styrofoam in order to make the muzzle and the jaw. Okay. With the plaster wrap being flexible, I could put it on with all these different shapes. So explaining how I made the ears, once I removed the dry paper mache from the oversized coffee cup, I put some holes in where the ears should be, and in order to have them be pretty stable in there, I put in a long piece of styrofoam, and then once it was inserted, I used the paper mache, not the paper mache, I'm sorry, the plaster wrap in order to secure it. And once it was nice and hard on the base, then I carved into the styrofoam the shape of the ears that I wanted. And then I continued to, coat it with that, the plaster wrap. It's like cement when it dries. It's really effective stuff. And I didn't get paid to promote this or anything. It just works really well. So I let that all dry for another 24 hours, and then I made teeth out of styrofoam, and I applied the same plaster wrap to that. I put a broad elastic on the jaw that was black elastic, so that way I could have movement for the jaw. And then wrap the whole thing in a yellow terry cloth using a hot glue stick in order to make the cloth stick to the plaster. I special ordered the eyes, oversized eyes, from a doll making company online. They were maybe $6. And there's my final product.